Okay, all you Red Barn fanatics, I went out yesterday and got my plywood, 4 sheets. I've got a 5th sheet here and some parts left over from when I did the O&P pod, and I think the full sheet is from way long time ago. But I got my 4 sheets of Akumi. Almost didn't do it the way planned sales and my yard full of existing boats. I was like, why do I need another one? But I thought, well, since there's been so many people that have signed up to watch these videos, what the hell, I haven't got anything better to do with my time. So we've already gotten through the tank testing and the placement of the mast and dagger board and all of that. And now we'll go over to what's, basically this is how I build a boat. I start with this one sheet that comes from my printouts on my computer when I finally have the final design of the panels. And you can see from this sheet, it's just some panels with some arcs built into them on both sides. But when you cut them out and wire them together, you get this, what I think is a pretty reasonable boat, beautiful boat, with a semi-rounded bottom to it. It's not some sort of slab-sided, hard chine, flat bottom, stand on the gunnel and the thing flips over on you kind of design. So I'm really happy with it, and we'll get on with it. This series of videos is going to deal mainly with the layout and how I draw up the boat, because in the my Flickr account photos from the different boats I've done, you'll see me doing this and that, but it's not really clear, I don't think, clear enough as to what I'm actually going to do. But I will have go through with a video on all the parts once I get all the boat put together. But I want to spend some time on this one, showing you how I lay out to lay out these frames, build a big strong back, and then put in these cross frames from lofting up from the center and eighths off of a center line to get these angles out of the point. It's all done on a flat surface, on a flat work table, and we'll get into that right now. Okay, one of the things you want to make certain is you have a good work platform, and I've got mine set up on 3 homemade sawhorses, about 4 inches, or made out of sawhorses with 2 by 6 by 4 foot wide or long cross members, and then on top of that I've got 4 2 by 6 by 8 foot long stringers that I lay the panels out on. It's flat enough. We'll get in scarfing. If you're going to scarf a lot, then I would go ahead and make you a really rigid, hard, dead flat table to do it on, and then you can lay them down and scarf them. It's a lot easier with like the 1/2 inch plywood. If you got 4 or 5 sheets of 1/2 inch plywood, they lay pretty much flat because of their weight. With the 6 millimeter and the 4 millimeter can be a little wavy at times, so you got to make certain that you keep them weighted down with stringers and weights, and then maybe clamps around the edges to keep them from taking on any kind of set, especially if you have a damper shop. It's starting to be fall here in the northwest, and so it's getting cold and damp out, and I usually don't heat this. So, but when I get done, the boat's going to have a lot of curve to it anyway, so why worry about it? And I don't get too involved, or I don't get too anal on my scarves. They're probably 95%, 100%. It just takes a lot of time, and you probably won't need it. Let's get on with it. First thing I've got to do, or did, was when I brought the sheets of plywood onto my workbench here, the long sheets, the ones that will be from the bow back to the scarf joints, I want to make certain that the goods, the bad side is up on the long sheets, because when you scarf and you have the scarf joint in the panel, you want the outside joint pointing aft. So you'll wind up, depending on whether you skin coat your boat, which I don't even recommend, just paint them and cover them with glass or whatever. Skin coats, if you're going to do something like that, build a stripper canoe. It's not worthwhile to do it on these little boats, because it just takes a lot of time and protection to keep epoxy and all the other stuff from messing up your finish. And then if you do get a mess up, then to sand it down without going through the layer, the outside layer, and all of a sudden getting spots. So the two bottom sheets in this stack, which I'll leave there for the time being, are bad, what I consider bad side up, because that'll be the bevel that I'll work on, because the good side, the side that's pointing aft, will be out. Now the two short panels that I'll have to cut out of the two top panels, because in this design I have one full section of 8 foot, and then I have two sections of 57 and 5/8 in order to get the length I need for when I lay it out. So those panels, the short ones, will be good side up, because they, if you're going to do a pretty interior on that, will be on the inside because of the way they are scarfed to the outside part, if you get my drift. But we'll get into that later. So let me go on and reset up here, and we'll cut the two sheets and then get into scarfing. Okay, we're going to lay out, I've got the other side laid out on my, like I said earlier, this is my Bible for this hull, so you're always going to see it laying around on the top of the plywood. So I got to come out 57. The original plans called for 9/16, but I'm going to give it a little bit extra a fudge factor and go to 57 and 5/8. You can go to 57 3/4 if you want. You just lose a little bit of extra wood on the length. So 57 and 5/8. Got that marked on both sides. Now it's time to take out, I've got one of these little long clamping things from Samoa or however you pronounce that name. Indian parent company, Chinese product. So I've got that lined up and in place, so now I can draw my cut mark on that panel. Okay, you can hear in the background I got my Jet 1000B air filter working to catch the stuff. I've got some backup clamps here because I never really trust these little guys for being holding power, so I always make certain I back them up with something so that they can't do it. Also, really make sure that you check the depth of your circular saw so that you're not cutting the other 4 sheets underneath or your table or whatever. So here we go. And wear some face protection too. Okay, step 1 is done. Step 2 is clean up all the junk that you just made. Okay, like I said, step number 2 is cleaning up the mess you made. The more you keep your area clean, the better you're going to have building the boat. You're not going to have a lot of sawdust and other junk tracking into the house and having the wife kick you back out again. We've got that part done. So now let me reset up the sheets and show you and bring out Big George over there and show you the next spot, scarping. What we're going to do is we're going to take an imaginary piece of wood. Remember, 3 inches wide by 1/2 inch thick by 4 foot long. That has to be turned into sawdust, chips, or whatever you do to carve those scarps. So let's get on with that.